out here with Elizabeth Bear. You are not actually from Austin.
I am not actually from Austin. I live in a tiny little town in central Massachusetts.
What brought you out here?
Well, my friend Amanda Downum, my co-creator on Shadow Unit, which is a web serial, which also obviously we now have print books and e-books. I was in town for a book signing, sadly yesterday at Book People, and I am... Is this where I get to shill?
Of course.
I'm promoting my new book, Shattered Pillars, which is the second in the Eternal Sky trilogy. It's out from Tor last week. It's an epic fantasy set in a realm inspired by Central Asia.
Nice.
So, Mongols, ponies, necromancers, you name it.
Speaking of Amanda Downum, we're over here with her, and what have you brought?
I have my fantasy trilogy, The Necromancer Chronicles, The Drowning City, The Bone Palace, and Kingdoms of Dust.
And you are based here in Austin as well?
Yes, I am.
And are you an indie publisher, or are these actually through a regular publishing house?
These are through a traditional publisher, but I am a co-writer on Shadow Unit, which is an indie web serial, which we have turned into lovely print books.
So here we have two successful authors that have been published with mainstream publishing. And what made you decide to do an indie book?
We wanted to do, actually it was Emma Bull's idea. She had this idea of trying to do something that was like a television show, but with complete creative control to the writing staff. And she recruited me, and I recruited Amanda, and the next thing we knew, we've been doing it for 5 years now.
Really?
It's been very successful on the web. We have this lovely cover, which is by photographer Kyle Cassidy, who is notable for a couple of, I think he's a New York Times bestseller for one of his books of photography.
So, as far as the profit level with things along those lines, does it make as much as a traditional book for you, or?
Not up front, however, probably amortized over time. There isn't that, you don't get that initial, how do I phrase it? You don't get the advance. You don't get that initial investment from a publisher, and it's quite frankly a lot more work. And we're very lucky that we have a collective of about 8 people working on this, which makes it easier. I don't think I would self-publish a novel right now by myself. I might in the future, but there's a lot to be said for professional editing and book design. There's also a lot to be said for just being able to do what you want and not having to sell your brilliant new idea of, oh, we're going to do a serial over 5 years on the web. Actually, some of the... John Scalzi is doing a serial right now that's extremely successful. I believe he's made the USA Today bestseller list with it.
And on top of that, I believe Christine Catherine Rush and Dean Wesley Smith are constantly telling people, like, hey, you should try the indie publishing.
Yes, I think that the future of work for writers, at least in science fiction and fantasy, I can't speak outside my field, is going to be a balance of the two models. I am neither firmly on the traditional publishing bandwagon nor firmly on the everything should be indie all the time bandwagon.
I agree with my esteemed colleague.
Have you self-published anything else, or is this the first experiment you've had in that?
This is my first toe in the water of self-publishing a Shadow Unit. Some people are amazingly successful with it, but there's a lot to weed through to find those amazingly successful books. So, and it is a lot of work.
Yes, and you're taking all the financial risk yourself, which it's sort of nice sometimes to have a publisher say, hey, here's $10,000, go write a book. It feels that the faith can be nice.